In our last episode, we visited the Wachutu tribe, who are currently occupying the pre-war city of Peoria, Illinois. Beneath the town, we found a pre-war storage facility that turned out to be much more than that. After collecting all of the fusion batteries we needed, without killing any of the tribals there, we headed back to Bunker Beta to find out what General Barnaky had next for us. After storing all of our exceptionally heavy microfusion cells that we collected in Peoria, we can then hit up the quartermaster to see if there's anything new in stock. And indeed there is. He has a brand new weapon available in the small arms section, the Desert Eagle Mark 19, and he has 2 of them available. An ancient Desert Eagle pistol in .44 caliber Magnum. Interest in late 20th century films made this one of the most popular handguns of all times. It does between 15 and 23 damage and has a range of 25. Compared to my .44 Magnum revolver that does between 14 and 21 damage with only a range of 18, the Desert Eagle is a superior weapon, even in terms of ammo capacity. So I snagged one and put it on Oxhorn. The quartermaster still does not have any big guns for sale, nor any energy weapons, but in the melee weapons section we find a Ripper. I'm not really doing melee right now, so I didn't need it. And in traps we find some plastique and a remote detonated trap. At last we have a use for the detonator we found in the very first mission. And he now sells 5.56mm ammunition. We can stock up and finally make good use of the M16s we found in Peoria. It was then I realized that the P220 Sig Sauer that we found on a body in Peoria had a triple fire mode, and so I equipped it as a secondary weapon on Oxhorn to test it out. I then gave Stumpy, my sniper, an M16 to take advantage of its improved range. Kerr, the merchant, has nothing new, and heading to the recruits master, I decided I finally needed a big guns character. I've got a rocket launcher now, not a lot of ammunition for it, but I figured now would be a good time to collect experience for this guy so I could make use of him later on. I decided to swap him for Keith, my medic, a decision I kind of regretted later, but at the time I thought, well, he's not really useful in combat and stim packs are plenty. If necessary, I could always use Oxhorn for his first aid and doctor skills, seeing as how I've nearly maxed out his small gun skills. We don't find any new squad mates available in the recruits pool, and Celsius had nothing new to sell either, though I did stock up on the small energy cells. I had practically depleted all of Beth's when using her power fist on the turrets in Peoria. We also noticed that Cypher is now gone. Not sure where he went off to. Then, when ready, we can head to Barnaky, but we find someone new standing here, wearing a full suit of power armor. This is Paladin Solo.
Name's Solo. I'm in charge of Talon Squad, which is used for quick armed response. It's easy duty until you're called into action, and then it's time to rock. Tell me, brother, what's better than this?
Paladin Solo of Talon Squad. Okay, cool. I hope we'll get to learn more about him later. Then, talking to Barnaky, we can learn more about our latest mission, Quincy.
At ease, warrior. Recently, the township of Quincy has petitioned the Brotherhood for protection from a large group of savages called Beastlords. This threat is unique because their raiding parties include various monsters from the wasteland, most notably the deadly Deathclaw. The mayor's assistant, Arlene Turling, warned us that these Beastlords have taken over certain parts of Quincy and are using hostages to ensure they have control over the rest of the town. We believe that Mayor Hillary Eastwood is among those captured. Your mission is to rescue the mayor and assist in dealing with the Beastlords. Saving the mayor is your first priority. After that, you may decide on how best to neutralize the Beastlords' hold on the town. Remember, we want Quincy to be an ally to the Brotherhood, so keeping the town as unscathed as possible is of high priority. One more thing. Quincy is home to both humans and ghouls. While most of our elders believe ghouls are almost our equals, I do not agree. Either way, experience has taught me that racial tensions will be present in the town. Ensure that your squads remain focused in the face of such distractions. Dismissed.
Interesting. So it sounds like the elders of the Midwestern chapter of the Brotherhood aren't quite as racist as the ones on the West Coast, with the exception of Barnaky here. He just doesn't like ghouls. And it looks like we get to meet Deathclaws for the first time. Yay! So head to Quincy, kill Deathclaws, rescue Mayor. Got it. I failed to examine the armor section of the quartermaster, and now that I've got Stoma, my brand new big guns guy, I wanted to make sure he was well armored. On his inventory, we find a new suit of metal armor and more suits of the leather armor Mark II. I bought enough so that Oxhorn was wearing the metal armor and everyone else was equipped with a set of leather armor Mark II. When ready, we can head to the Hummer and move out to the world map. We find Quincy far southwest of Bunker Beta, even further south than Macomb. Upon arrival, we find ourselves in the streets of Quincy, surrounded by a number of rickety shacks. We can then take a look at Brotherhood reconnaissance on our map. We arrive at the insertion point on the southwestern corner of the map. Due north of us is a shanty town that lies on the western side of the tracks that run the length of Quincy. The ghoul population of Quincy has made the abandoned rail factories their home. North of this, we learn that Quincy has a number of satellite farms supporting the community. The nearest of the surrounding farms is found here on the northwest edge of the town. East of here, on the northern section of the map, we learn that a detention center is located here. It was used initially as a barracks for the local militia and a prison for criminals. Then we learn that an old church lies at the northeastern edge of Quincy, and then due south of it, we find a local brothel and a neighboring saloon. But our primary objective is on the southern middle section of the map. Pretty close to us, actually. We need to establish contact with the mayor and keep her alive. We need to work with the local authorities to regain control of the town. We find a fence blocking us off from moving north. Moving west down the road, we find the edge of the map can't go any further, and just south of us is a bubbling pool with really nothing of interest here. So moving east, we see a path forward and a woman crouched down telling us to watch out for the Deathclaws. I knew you'd come, she says. This is Arlene, the woman who asked the Brotherhood for help.
Thank goodness you're finally here. Those dreadful savages have captured the mayor. She's being held in the large house in front of us. That building contains the warning siren for the town. If that siren sounds, the Beastlords have threatened to kill all of their hostages. Understand that you must free Hillary first. As mayor, she's the only one with the key to disable the siren. But be careful. There are at least 2 savages in the same room with her.
Okay, save Mayor first. Don't trip the alarm. If we trip the alarm, the Beastlords will kill the hostages. We can talk with her again.
The siren is on the roof of the building, but only Hillary has the means to turn it off. I had the key to the door where they're holding her, but the leader of the guards took it from me, and I'm sure he would have locked the door. Whatever you're going to do, you'll have to do it quickly and quietly. Good luck.
Good luck and be careful, she says. She's more than just a mayor to me. Examining this building right next to her, we discover that it's empty. We see that we can enter a building just to the north of us, but there's nothing inside and no way out of it. So we are forced to move west. Crossing the tracks and entering the first building we find, we discover that it was a pre-war schoolhouse. In one of the offices, we find a civilian already dead. And next to her lies the remains of a radroach. On her body is some 44 Magnum jacketed hollow point ammunition and a 44 M29 revolver. Looks like the Beastlords have already executed a few civilians even before we got here. We need to make sure that they don't execute any more. Heading out the back door and moving west, we find an abandoned playground. Basketball hoops still here, but nothing else of interest here. But due north of this playground is the building where we know the Beastlords are keeping the mayor. And on the roof, we find the alarm. If we can disable that, then the Beastlords can't sound the alarm, and therefore none of the rest of the Beastlords can be notified we're here and start executing the hostages. I wanted to reconnoiter the roof first, so taking my sneaky person Ice, we can put her in stealth and have her climb a ladder that we find on the southern side of the building all the way to the roof. However, we find the rooftop empty. Moving to the door, we find it locked, but if we try to pick it, we fail. We can't pick this lock. Looks like we have to find a key. On the western side, we find a ladder going down to a balcony. Crouching down and peering into this room, we find one of the guards. But in this room by the bed is an alarm. And if we don't kill him fast enough, he sounds the alarm, and the Beastlords begin to kill hostages. So we've got to try this again. I brought Oxhorn up, and I figured between the two of them, they could kill the guy before he sounds the alarm. So, making them both aggressive, we can race inside and stand directly in front of the alarm, so he has to go through us before he can trip it. Success. And it looks like this was the only guard guarding the mayor. We complete our first objective, to rescue the mayor. Where is she? Oh, she's in the southern room, crouching down. This room is empty. On the body of the commander we just killed, we find an iron pipe, a desert eagle. Hey, I didn't need to buy the one at the quartermaster. I wish I would have known that. Some psycho healing powder, a house key, and some 44 Magnum jacketed hollow point ammunition. Heading out and moving south, we can use the key we found on the commander's body to unlock the door where we find the mayor.
Thank you for the rescue. I understand that the Brotherhood is interested in forming an alliance with the people of Quincy. There are 3 more hostage situations, so let's make a deal. My daughter is being held in the town hall and being guarded by death claws. You must find a way to rescue her. If she dies, you might as well go back home. We have a number of townsfolk being kept in the room housing the power generator for Quincy. We need these people freed without destroying the machinery. Finally, Quincy's most experienced war hero, Felix Stiles, is being held inside the barracks. Rescuing him means a lot to me and the people of Quincy. Take this key to disable the siren. You have to do that first or this town is finished. I know this is asking a lot, but there aren't any other options. You best get started.
So she won't help us if her daughter dies. Sounds like that's really the only other task we have to achieve to get their support. But while we're here, we might as well do the others as well. Talking with her again.
The power generator room has been rigged with explosives. The Beastlords have threatened to detonate the explosives, destroying both the generator and our townsfolk if they suspect trouble. If they do this, I'll be out of office and the Brotherhood can look elsewhere for an alliance.
Oh, okay, looks like that one's required too. We gotta save the hostages in the power room. Talking with her again.
My daughter Evita is being held in the town hall. There are death claws surrounding her, ready to tear her to shreds as soon as a Beastlord gives the word. If you can find some way to distract the death claws or prevent the signal from being given, you should be able to save her. I was in labor for 4 days with her, so you'll understand how much she means to me.
Okay, that's why she means a lot? Because it was a tough labor? Oh, all right. Well, now we know where the death claws are. And talking with her a final time.
Old Felix Stiles is being held inside the barracks. The Beastlord commander is there along with his bodyguards. You can expect a big fight. But there's another way into the compound. An escape tunnel lies between the town hall and the barracks. The entrance is in the back room of the town hall, and it leads into the inner building of the barracks, past the courtyard.
So according to Brotherhood reconnaissance, the old barracks is actually the pre-war detention center, and there we find the old town hero, Felix Stiles. Sounds like an assault through the front door is out of the question. And since the tunnel leading underneath the detention center is at the town hall, we should probably rescue her daughter first, then head to rescue Felix Stiles. In her room, we find one shelf. Inside, some 7.62mm ammunition, a first aid kit, and shotgun shells. That's it for the top floor, but there's still a bottom floor to this building. Putting Ice in stealth and having her sneak down the stairs, we discover a number of enemies here, but most of them are sleeping. A Beastlord sleeps behind the bar, and no fewer than 3 baby death claws sleep on the ground of the saloon. Then outside the main door, we find 2 Beastlord guards. But first, before we do anything else, we need to disable the alarm. So, sending Oxhorn out to the balcony and up the ladder to the roof, we can use the key we got from the mayor to open the door. Then heading inside, we can flip the switch. With that, we complete an objective and earn 800 experience. Now the Beastlords can't trip any of the alarms. We still need to be careful that the Beastlords we assault in a particular building don't race off and kill the hostages, but at least this way, when assaulting those buildings, none of the Beastlords in any of the others will know about it. We can take things building by building. I decided that I wanted to get rid of the guards outside the building first, so bringing Oxhorn and Ice back to the squad, we can make the whole squad aggressive and send them around the corner. Then, we can force the baby Deathclaws to come out the main door. The attention of a wandering Beastlord, but sounds like no one else was alerted. Heading inside, we know there is one Beastlord sleeping behind the bar. And with that, the mayor's building is clear. On one body, we find an AK-47, 9mm, and 7.62mm ammunition. We can't loot any containers on this floor. Then heading out and looting the next Beastlord, we find the exact same inventory. None of the baby Deathclaws have anything on their inventory. But looting the next Beastlord, we find a hunting rifle, 9mm and AK-47 ammunition. Then tiptoeing out to loot the body of the Beastlord who wandered into our fight, we find an Uzi and 9mm ammunition. Well, according to our map, the closest objective is the generator room. So moving out, we can head west. We find a building right next to the generator, but inside, nothing we can interact with, though I suppose it's a great place to heal up in privacy. Then, continuing west, we see that the generator facility is a 2-story structure with no door on the ground floor. Instead, we find a staircase leading up to the 2nd floor. I wanted to explore the outskirts first, so heading south, we see a break in the fence. There's a barrel on fire, but nobody here. Some graves to the south, one of which is still open, but nothing of interest here. Behind the staircase is a dumpster and some machinery, but nothing to loot. And so putting the party into stealth, we can climb up the stairs to recon this floor. We arrive in a long hallway. There's a room to the left. Heading through the door, we find it empty, but we do find one gray locker. Inside are some lockpicks, a first aid kit, and a tool kit. Then heading out, the hallway turns east. There's a room to the south with just more machinery inside, but exploring further, we find a dead civilian, and on his body is a stack of 50 microfusion cells. Moving out of this room, we find more machinery and we arrive at the top of a staircase. Heading down the staircase, we arrive in a small room with a switch. Flipping the switch turns off the lights. Maybe we can use this to our advantage. However, moving into the next room, they see through most of my character's stealth. And while some fire on us, most of these Beastlords begin attacking the hostages who are surrounding the generators. So next I tried foregoing stealth and running in guns blazing. But then a Beastlord uses a remote detonator to detonate the plastic explosives at the base of each generator, killing all of the hostages. This is the only point of entry. We have to come through this staircase, and only one of my characters is good at stealth, so I'm not going to easily assassinate them before they can get to the generator. So, my strategy is to kill the commander first, before she can detonate the explosives, then send Beth to the western side of the building to kill the Beastlords behind the sandbag barricades before they can assassinate all of the hostages. Racing in. We complete the objective. We save the hostages by the generator and defeat all of the Beastlords. Flipping the lights back on, we can send Stumpy, my only traps character, to disarm and loot the explosives. In the middle of each generator is a remote detonator, and on either side of the remote detonator is a piece of plastique. If they don't detonate them, we can walk away from this with 2 remote detonators and 4 pieces of plastique. Then looting the bodies behind the northern sandbag barricade, we find an AK-47, 2 festering spears, healing powder, .45 caliber ammunition, and AK-47 ammunition. Then on the next Beastlord, we find a revolver, 2 more festering spears, healing powder, and more ammunition. Then looting the commander is a Colt 45, a remote detonator, some psycho, 2 healing powder, and ammunition. Then looting the guys behind the western sandbag barricade. On one, we find another Desert Eagle, 2 festering spears, healing powder, ammunition, and 2 stim packs. And on the last, a Scorpio, armor-piercing 9mm ammunition, 2 festering spears, healing powder, and 45 caliber ammunition. The hostages are elated. Hooray! I wasn't scared. You guys packed some mean weapons. I was about to kill them myself. Sure you were, Guy. With the power facility clear, we can head out the way we came in. I found some recorded audio in the game files that apparently weren't included in the finished game. I think at some point during the construction of this mission, we were intended to complete each of the mayor's requests before the mission was seen as complete. But in the finished version of the mission, we only have to complete 2 of them, rescuing the mayor and rescuing her daughter. However, they recorded dialogue for what I think was the initial vision of this quest that I'll include in the video to fully flesh out the story. If, for example, after saving the hostages by the generators, had we then returned to the mayor, she would have said this.
You saved the generator? Thank God. There's no way we could find another one. And all those people, of course. I'm starting to believe an alliance with the Brotherhood is feasible.
If, however, we would have allowed the generators to become destroyed, she would have said this.
What was that awful noise? The generator, all those people. Dead! Oh, this is terrible! I thought you said you could handle it. Maybe I should have made a deal with the raiders.
But in the finished version of the game, she doesn't say anything else until after we rescue her daughter. I'll include the other audio snippets as we progress through the mission. Now, we need to find a way to the town hall to rescue the mayor's daughter. Heading south, we can bypass the mayor's building and make our way back to the train tracks. We see a building just north of us, and we catch the attention of a Beastlord. But we make quick work of him. However, looking north, we find a Beastlord and a Deathclaw guarding this building. If we're going to make our way to the town hall, we've got to get through these guys. So taking a staircase to the roof, I figured we could stand up here and lob grenades at the Deathclaw. But the Deathclaw and the Beastlord run inside. We find a staircase on the roof that leads downstairs. Moving down, we can quickly kill the Beastlord. But with his master dead, the Deathclaw flees out the main door and south down the tracks. I tried chasing him. He turns around and runs the opposite way. I get a few shots off, but man, these Deathclaws are fast. Following him north, past the train tracks, he takes us towards a farm. He finally stops so we can shoot at him. Oh, but he's assisted by another Deathclaw and more baby Deathclaws. Oh, great, he brought us into a trap, and these Deathclaws wipe out my entire party. So, trying this again, I decided to lure them into an ambush. I set 3 squad members in a line by the tracks where we know the Deathclaw will flee to. Then, sending 3 more to the roof, we can attack them from the roof. And as expected, they race inside. So we can take the staircase down, kill the Beastlord. But this time, the Deathclaw, instead of fleeing, attacks us. I didn't want to get into melee combat with this guy, so racing upstairs, we can flee to the roof, then take the staircase to the south, down to the ground level, whereupon the Deathclaw races out the door and straight into our ambush. He manages to get off a few savage attacks before, at last, we take him down. Moving back up the stairs to the roof, we can explore up here first. We find another building up here with another rooftop. Heading to this rooftop, we get a good view of the train yard, but we don't see any enemies. So heading back down the staircase, we can move through a door to the north to arrive at some sort of restaurant. There is a balcony to the east, but when we head out there, we get spotted by a Beastlord and some wolves. They race into the building, and so heading down the staircase we find here to meet them, we can lure the wolves upstairs. Then moving back downstairs, we can take care of the Beastlord on the deck. And a final wolf. On the Beastlord's body is another Colt 45, 2 festering spears, healing powder, and 45 caliber ammunition. There is another wandering Beastlord out there milling about, but I didn't want to race out into the street to meet him just yet. Instead, we can head back inside and wait for him to come to us. And down he goes. On his body is a cattle prod, some voodoo, and healing powder. This room, and the one next to it, is empty. Heading out a door, we arrive back at the train tracks, and it looks like we had been exploring the rooftops of a number of connected buildings. Moving south, we can explore the next one. Looks like another bar, but it's empty. Moving out, we can head through the door to the next one, and here we find the staircase that leads to the roof. But this room is empty. Heading out, we can move south to explore the next one. It appears to be a Beastlord barracks, but it's empty. But then as we head out to explore the next one, we catch the attention of more Beastlords milling about to the east. On the body of one is an M1 Garand and ammunition. But before we can loot the other corpse, we get charged by another Beastlord. On his body is a hunting rifle and more ammunition. And on the last, we find a rusty old monkey wrench, some healing powder, and voodoo. Taking a look at this brand new weapon, the 30 caliber Garand was the first automatic rifle to be used as the standard infantry weapon of a major army when it was adopted by the U.S. Army in 1936. Its rugged construction and reliability makes this weapon a popular and valuable addition to anyone. It does between 12 and 24 damage, with 8 ammo capacity, a range of 40, and an AP cost of 4. Compared to the M16, which has an inferior damage range between 10 and 22 in single fire mode, but a superior range of 42, only 2 hexes more than the Garand. But with an ammo capacity of 24 and an AP cost of 4, the Garand is a superior long-range weapon, as long as you don't mind reloading a bit more, and if that -2 to range doesn't bother you too much. It also has an accuracy bonus when used at long ranges. However, it has a close range penalty, being less effective than the M16 in close quarters. So a pretty decent weapon. I'll give one to my sniper, but I'll have to swap weapons if enemies get too close. I wanted to finish exploring these buildings down here to the west, but we don't find any containers in this last room. Heading back to the tracks, we can follow it north, and to the west we discover Ghoul Quarter, population 12. I wanted to explore this Ghoul Quarter. I know Barnaky told us not to get distracted, but I'm curious. Here we find a number of tents, but these tents are really disappointing. This one's empty. Moving south, this one's empty. Moving south, this one's empty. Moving south, we find a little shack. This is the one whose inside we explored upon arrival. At last we can climb the ladder to view the roof, but there's nothing up here. Then moving west, we find a couple of graves and the edge of the map. There's nothing in this scrapyard, so we can take the road north to finish exploring the Ghoul Quarter. Here we find a little bit of an elevated outpost, but there's nothing up here. However, due north of us, we find some ghouls shouting at us. Please, you must help us, they say. Those damn purebloods didn't even try to save us, says another. We find a number of ghouls crouched down behind some sandbag barricades. And in the shack to the north, we find the ghoul leader, Elliot.
I am Elliot. The ghouls here call me their leader, but that's just 'cause no one else wanted the job. Please, Outlanders, you have to help us too. I know we're just a bunch of ghouls, but we get scared and bleed just like pure-blood humans. We might not be able to offer the same amount of resources as the Quincy purebloods, but we got something to offer too. We'll fight, but we don't stand a chance against those death claws. What do you say? It'd be a shame for me to die a day before I turn 150 next week.
Unbeknownst to us, ending this dialogue triggers an attack. While I was busy exploring the shack to see if there were any containers, there weren't. The Ghoul Town gets attacked by wolves and Beastlords from the north. Even though we quickly dispose of them, the second wave is that Deathclaw and the Deathclaw babies we ran into earlier, and they quickly devastate us. Well, at least now we know what to expect. I tried a number of times to get through this without losing a single ghoul, and I at least found it to be impossible. If any of my characters were too close to the northern fence, when the Deathclaws arrived, they honed in on them and killed them before I could dispatch them. If I used burst weapons or area effect weapons, I risked accidentally hitting the ghouls. And if you hit the ghouls, they all turn on you, forcing us to kill the ghouls as well as the Deathclaws. No matter how many times I reloaded this, I couldn't get through without someone dying. Finally, I gave up on trying to save every ghoul and just wanted to get through the encounter without losing a squad member. I finally succeeded by positioning most of my men behind the sandbag barricades and then making sure Tarjay had his explosives equipped. Then, after the Beastlords were killed, I sent one guy out to act as a lure. I then kited him around while the Deathclaws chased him. But while they chased him, the rest of my squad could pick them off. My squad managed to survive this attempt, and only losing one ghoul, the rest of them all survived. Perhaps that would be enough. And so, heading into the tent, we can talk again with Elliot.
I can't believe the firepower you guys are packing. I gotta thank you for your help, but maybe you can help us even more. The damn cannibals abducted my brother Gorgie and took him to the northern part of the ghoul quarter. Considering how fast you guys creamed those bastards, this should be no problem.
Oh, and he wants us to save his brother. Okay. Again, this is not part of our mission, but as Elliot said, perhaps the ghouls have something else to offer us. And so, agreeing to help poor Elliot and his brother, we can first loot the dead. On the ghoul that died, we find a hunting rifle, 2 stim packs, and some ammunition. Then looting the Beastlords with the wolves. On one we find an Uzi and ammunition. The same inventory on the next. And an Uzi, ammunition, and a wasp sting on the last. The wasp sting is actually a melee weapon. It's a stinger removed from a mutant wasp. It is still loaded with the original poison. However, it's bugged. Many melee weapons are supposed to have a thrust mode and a swing mode. However, as this is a wasp sting, they removed the swing mode. However, they removed it incorrectly. They simply left it blank. And since swing mode is the first mode on many of these melee weapons, when you equip the wasp sting, it doesn't actually work. And we can't switch to thrust mode. So unless we have a patch installed, this bugged weapon is essentially useless. Crossing the road, we arrive at a farm. We see a front door, but before I had an opportunity to explore around the building, we come under fire from Beastlords inside. So, racing through the front door, we make quick work of them. We find dead civilians here, but they were already dead. One civilian is empty. The next one has shotgun shells and 4 stim packs. Then looting the Beastlords, we find a hunting rifle and ammunition. And on the last, a Colt 45 and ammunition. Then, standing to the north, we find Gorgie. "Thanks for saving me," he says. "I have to see if my brother Elliot is all right." He just stays here for now. Moving upstairs, we can explore this bedroom and a nearby balcony, but these are both empty. So heading out, we find a farm just north of us, but it's empty and all fenced in. So heading back to the ghoul quarters to check in with Elliot. And he has different responses based on our actions. If Gorgie died...
Gorgie is dead? My poor brother. Why did this happen? You did your best, I know. All I can do in return is offer some ghouls to go in for Brotherhood training. If more of us knew how to fight, perhaps Gorgie's death might have been averted. Thanks for your help. Ain't many purebloods around here who would lift a finger to help a ghoul. Still, I wish Gorgie was here to see it. Stranger, if you'd accept ghouls in your ranks, some of us here would like to join you in your brotherhood. If more of us ghouls knew how to fight, perhaps Gorgie's death might have been averted.
If, however, we saved Gorgie, and at the same time we saved most of the ghouls...
I don't know how to thank you. I just heard that you got Gorgie's sloppy ass out of trouble. Strangers, I am forever in your debt. If you accept ghouls in your ranks, we'd be honored to sign up for your brotherhood.
All right, we made the ghouls happy, and maybe now we'll find some ghouls waiting for us back at Bunker Beta. And the ghouls rejoice. You go, ghoul friend. Anyone seen my finger? You saved us. I don't believe it. Need any ghouls in the Brotherhood? You Brotherhood guys are all right. You are a true friend of the ghouls. We will not forget. Now, we still have to find the town hall to save the mayor's daughter. Heading out of the ghoul quarter, we see that we've cleared most of this map. The train depot is now empty, though we do find some gorgeous rusting pre-war train wrecks on the tracks. Following the tracks north, we pass a sign that says Quincy, population 38. But then we reach the northern edge of the map, and we find this whole area fenced in. So to continue, we have to go back to the road and follow it east. We arrive at the penitentiary, and here we see a front door leading inside. But what was it the mayor said? That there's a secret tunnel to the penitentiary beneath the town hall. So maybe we'll give the penitentiary a miss for now. Moving north, we find a ruined caravan on the northern side. And then to the northeast, we find the church. Before heading into the church, I wanted to continue exploring to the east, but as we stumble upon the wreckage of what appears to be a helicopter, we get attacked by a Beastlord. And 2 pet deathclaws. They quickly devastated my squad. So, instead of exploring this helicopter, we can move north into the church. We find a graveyard just south of the church, but as we get close to the church, we attract the attention of 2 deathclaws. However, the church is lined with windows, and we can shoot through the windows at the deathclaws. The deathclaws don't seem to be smart enough to realize that they can go out the front door to attack us, so they just stand here. We can pick them off through the windows. Uh-oh, one figured it out. But for him, it was too late. Then moving to the other windows, we can find the right angle to finish off this last deathclaw. Heading inside the church, we find one lootable container in the back. Opening the chest inside, we find jacketed hollow point 9mm ammunition, a field first aid kit, and metal armor Mark II. This is the best suit of armor we've found so far, but metal armor negatively affects our stealth. So we're going to give this to a character who doesn't depend on stealth. I decided to give it to Stoma, my new big guns character. Then heading out, on the southern side of the church, we find a ladder leading to the roof. The roof is completely empty, but this gave me an idea. Moving south from the church, we pass through the church graveyard, and on the other side of the church gate, we find that ruined helicopter, where we know there is a Beastlord and 2 Deathclaws waiting for us. I immediately knew what I had to do. Sending the entire squad to the top of the roof, we can position them along the southern border. Then, taking Stoma, my most highly armored character, we can creep close to the wreckage to try to lure the Deathclaws. The problem is that it takes a while for the Deathclaws to phase in. and it just so happened that I wandered a bit too close. These Deathclaws are really fast, and before I can race back to the church and climb the ladder, the Deathclaws are upon Stoma. Additionally, each of these Deathclaw attacks can stun Stoma, so that he falls off the ladder as he's trying to retreat. So to do this correctly, I needed to get close enough to the wreckage to lure the attention of the Deathclaws without getting so close that I didn't have enough time to retreat. I also depended a bit on luck in this final attempt. The Deathclaws were hot on Stoma's tail, but a well-timed explosive from Tarjay stunned them both. This gave Stoma crucial time to climb the ladder and reach the roof before the Deathclaws could get there. The Deathclaws could climb the ladder, but Tarjay's explosives continued to knock them back and stun them. They never really fell off the ladder, which was weird, but it prevented them from reaching the roof. And in this manner, I was able to kill both Deathclaws. All that remained was the Beastlord, who hid himself on the other side of the southern fence. Sending in Beth, we can pummel him to death. On his body is a hunting rifle, ammunition, and a rusty old monkey wrench. With the squad reunited, we can head south to explore this helicopter wreckage. There's nothing here, and it appears we've reached the eastern edge of the map. We see the penitentiary just to the west of us, but moving south, we stumble upon the brothel. Perhaps the Beastlords have hostages here as well, and if they do, we've got to save them. However, if we just run inside... The Beastlords immediately beeline for the prostitutes and execute them. Also, using thrown explosives or burst mode is dangerous here, as we can accidentally kill the prostitutes. This is a really tricky one. How do we save these prostitutes before the Beastlords kill them? Putting Ice in stealth, we can move her around to the western side of the building. Here we find a Beastlord patrolling. That was Oxhorn's Sig Sauer. I had given it to Ice to use, and I had it on triple mode, but as you just saw, it was pathetic. I immediately decided then and there that I hated it. I needed to find a replacement. On his body is a hunting rifle and ammunition. Then sending her to the southern side of the brothel, we find another Beastlord on guard, surrounded by civilian corpses. The first civilian is empty, but on the second civilian we find a cookie. Then looting the body of the Beastlord, we find another hunting rifle and more ammunition. With the exterior clear, we now have to get inside before they can kill the prostitutes. But this is easier said than done. The prostitutes have really low health, and as soon as the ones inside see us, they immediately begin to fire upon the prostitutes. There is one guard by the northern door standing right next to a prostitute he's holding hostage. There are two guards by the western window, also standing next to a prostitute they're holding hostage. As soon as they kill this one, they race into the middle of the room, where we find a prostitute bartender, whom they then try to execute. Additionally, there's a Beastlord behind the counter, who begins to fire upon any of the prostitutes that have not already been killed. The key to succeeding is to overwhelm the two prostitutes against the western window, while at the same time immediately killing the guard against the northern door. Then we can move on to killing the guy behind the counter. This took me several attempts. In order to time it correctly, I had Oxhorn and Beth waiting by the northern door, and the rest of the squad waiting by the southern door. Sending in the southern squad, and then immediately sending in Oxhorn and Beth, then sending Beth and Oxhorn to the Beastlord behind the bar. We at last succeed, and the prostitutes rejoice. Thanks for saving our sweet asses. You don't have to be gentle with me, says the super mutant prostitute. Hey, it's the world's oldest profession. You want some sloppy ghoul action? Aw, man. On the body of the guy behind the bar, we find a .44 revolver with ammunition. On the body of the guy by the door to the north, we find a hunting rifle and ammunition. On the bodies to the south, we find a machete and ammunition on one, and a cleaver and ammunition on the other. We find a staircase to the northeast. Heading upstairs, we find all of these rooms completely empty. So heading back downstairs, we see a doorway right next to the staircase. Hiding behind this staircase is another staircase that leads to the basement, but it's really difficult to scale it because the two staircases are stacked on top of each other. The game is automatically trying to detect which layer we are trying to access, and it doesn't get it right very easily. But with persistence, at last we can activate the second staircase and climb downstairs. But we don't get rewarded for doing so. We find a bit of a cellar. There's nothing stored here. There is a tunnel to the north, but we can't climb the stairs to access it. I'm thinking this is part of some sort of cut content. With the brothel clear and the rest of the town clear, all we have left is to go to the town hall and the detention center. Directly west of the brothel is the saloon we read about in the reconnaissance. The main floor of the saloon is empty. The upstairs of the saloon is empty. There is a ladder on the side of this saloon, but the rooftop of the saloon is empty. Due west of this, however, is the town hall. We see Beastlords crawling on the roof of the town hall. Putting Ice in stealth, we can send her that way. She finds a ladder on the southern side of the town hall. Climbing the ladder, we arrive on the first rooftop. We see a door leading to the second floor of the town hall, and we can creep along the rooftop to take out this wandering Beastlord. One shot does it. On his body is a Scorpio and ammunition. Then moving around to the southern side, we find a ladder leading to the ultimate rooftop. Here we find one more Beastlord patrolling. On his body is a hunting rifle and ammunition. Heading back down the ladder, we can use Ice to explore the inside. This top floor of the town hall is empty. No containers, no enemies. However, we do find a staircase leading to the ground floor. Moving down the stairs, we can pass through a doorway to the east, where we find 2 Beastlords and 1 Deathclaw. We don't see any sign of the mayor's daughter. Perhaps she's stored in a nearby room. Taking Ice out, we can have her rejoin the squad. My strategy here was the same that I employed at the church. I wanted to lure the Deathclaw outside and then fire upon it from the rooftop. So having the squad scale the ladder, I positioned them against the western edge of the roof. Then I put Beth by the top of the ladder with her shotgun and sent in Stoma to be a lure. Sending him through the front door, we get spotted by the Beastlords. Then, hightailing it out of there as fast as we can lure them to our trap. But it looks like only 1 Beastlord fell for it. Well, 1 down. Heading back, we can loot the body. We find a club, healing powder, and voodoo. Then moving back inside the town hall, we can try to keep our distance. Remember, we need to attract their attention while still giving us enough room to make it back to the rooftop before the Deathclaw can reach us. Firing 1 shot, and racing out the door. We can run back to the roof, but the Deathclaw doesn't follow us. Then we hear...
You have allowed the mayor's daughter to perish. Failure is unacceptable in the Brotherhood of Steel. Try again, warrior.
The Deathclaw killed Evita. Oh, that's right. We remember the mayor telling us that the Beastlord here would direct the Deathclaw to kill the daughter if we attacked them. Looks like after the Deathclaw lost Stoma's scent, he raced back inside to kill Evita. So this time, sending Stoma back in, we can get their attention, then wait for the Deathclaw to close distance. That should do it. He chases us out the main door and follows us right to the trap, but he's closing on Stoma fast. Thank God for Tarjay's explosives. But then the Deathclaw hides on the other side of this wall. We can't see him from up here. He's out of line of sight, and he doesn't move. Sending Stoma back down, the Deathclaw is in flight mode. But then he races to the ladder. And then he runs away. Oh, great. We send Stoma on a wild Deathclaw chase. After chasing him all over the place, we finally hit him enough to turn him aggressive again. He then chases Stoma, and we can lure him back to the trap. At last, got him. We've got one Beastlord still to kill. Bringing the squad down from the roof, we can try to go through the side door, but we find it locked. Well, I didn't want to bother picking it, so moving around to the front door, we can run and gun. Boom. We find this bottom floor pretty much empty. On the body of this Beastlord is a hunting rifle and ammunition. There is a room to the north. Here we find one cabinet, inside some booze and voodoo, but the rest of the room is empty. So moving south, we can open the southern door to find Evita. But she says, quick, lock the door. Okay, closing the door, we can try to talk to her again. Shh, not until they're all dead, she says. Well, wait, we killed them all. Did we miss some? This must mean that there are some waiting for us in the room to the east. Sending ice in, she discovers 3 sleeping Beastlords. Oh, and there's another door here to the north. Well, this gives us an opportunity to get at them from both sides. Sending part of my squad to the northern door and part of my squad to the southern door, we can race in and kill the sleeping Beastlords.
You've completed the objectives for this mission. Proceed to the exit grid to leave this mission.
And there we go, we've done it. But there was still that hero of the town, Felix. The mayor really wanted us to save him. And at this point we are wasting Brotherhood time, but we made it this far. We might as well finish it. Hopefully Barnaky won't get too cross at us. First, we can loot the dead. On the body of one, we find a hunting rifle, 2 festering spears, healing powder, and ammunition. On the next, an AK-47 and ammunition. And on the last, a Sten gun, 2 festering spears, healing powder, and ammunition. The 9mm Sten gun was developed by the British during World War II as a cheap alternative to the more expensive Thompson SMG offered by the US. The Sten proved to be extremely reliable and, due to its fairly loose tolerances, could perform in poor conditions much more reliably than the ostensibly better weapons. It takes 9mm ammunition. It does between 14 and 21 damage in burst mode with a range of 16. Compare that to the AK-47's 10 to 22 damage and range of 28. However, the Sten gun does have 32 ammo capacity compared to the AK-47's 24. Then in single mode, it does between 16 and 24 damage with a range of 18 compared to the AK-47's 12 to 25 damage with a range of 35, also with greater ammo capacity. So the Sten gun does a greater base damage. Even though it has one less maximum damage than the AK-47, overall we're probably going to be dealing more damage with this thing if range is not an issue. I decided to give it to Oxhorn for now, as the triple shot Sig Sauer just wasn't performing well enough for me. With all the Beastlords dead, we can head south to talk to Evita.
Oh, thank you so much. I was so afraid. Those horrible savages put me in here with all those creatures. I thought they were going to eat me. Well, I'm going to rest and then find my mom and Arlene. They're probably worried that some death claw's eating me right now. Bye.
Talking to her again.
Huh? Well, Arlene and I grew up together in this little town. We used to play with the ghouls when we were little girls. We never thought the ghouls were bad. In fact, they were very gentle with us. But Mother found out and she forbade us to play there ever again. I hope the ghouls are alright too. They have it bad enough with all the regular humans harassing them.
So it sounds like the mayor wasn't really fond of the ghouls. This may explain why we don't find any cut dialogue from the mayor concerning the fate of the ghouls. However, we do find some of this cut dialogue concerning the fate of her daughter. If we allow her daughter to be killed...
No, not my baby! Evita! Why? Why did this happen? Oh, my poor child, I'm so sorry. You, go back to your order. Your work here is done. There should be no alliance between Quincy and the Brotherhood. Get out of my town!
But if we save her daughter...
Oh, my goodness. This is the happiest day of my life. My daughter is safe and sound. Thank you, Outlanders. I assure you that your actions have guaranteed an alliance between Quincy and the Brotherhood.
Well, at least some of the townsfolk will be glad that we saved the ghouls. Looks like they're not all ghoul bigots. In this room, we do find one cabinet, and inside, the house key. This is used to unlock that side door that I just didn't want to bother picking earlier. This key is also found on her inventory if we choose to steal from her. Presumably, one method of solving this is to sneak in, steal the key off of her, unlock the side door, and then use this path as a quicker way to attack the Deathclaw and Beastlord from outside. Now, the mirror told us there was a tunnel beneath the town hall that led straight to the detention center, and we find a ladder leading down in the middle of the eastern room. Healing on up and bringing the entire squad down, we arrive in a barred-off storage area. Opening the northern door, we see the corpse of a woman down the hallway before us, but then our perception picks up the shapes of two Beastlords hiding on the other side of this wall. Looks like they did something awful to this woman. We can pay them back. The corpse of the civilian is empty. On one Beastlord, we find another M14 rifle with more ammunition. Then on the body of the other, we find an MP38, 2 festering spears, healing powder, and ammunition. The Schmeiser MP38 9mm machine pistol was introduced as the standard submachine gun of the German Army in 1938. Cheap and reliable. In burst mode, the MP38 does between 10 and 21 damage with an AP cost of 5 and a range of 16. Compare that to the AK-47's burst damage between 10 and 22 with a greater range of 28. In single mode, it does between 12 and 24 damage with a range of 20 and an AP cost of 4, compared to the AK-47's damage between 12 and 25 with a range of 35 and an AP cost of 4. At first, it seems like the AK-47 is a much better weapon, but the ammo capacity of the AK-47 is 24, compared to the MP38's ammo capacity of 30. So the AK-47 has much better range and does only slightly more damage, only 1 point more of damage, while the MP38 has a much greater ammo capacity. For kicks, I decided to give the MP38 to Ice, to see how well she could put it to use in close quarter combat. Continuing down the hallway, we find one crate we can loot inside a first aid kit, 9mm ball ammunition, shotgun shells, and 44 Magnum ball ammunition. At the end of the hallway is a room with apparently a drain in the middle of it, and to the west we find a pillar with a ladder attached. Climbing the ladder, we arrive inside the detention center. We find one Beastlord patrolling. As we've disabled the alarms, we can take him out. On his body is a hunting rifle, 5 festering spears, and healing powder. Just outside this building, we see the shadows of some enemies. I wanted to see what these were. Moving west, we arrive at the entrance to this building, and heading outside to the courtyard, we find the prison entrance. But just as we go in to explore it... What? But we disabled the alarms. Moving around to the other side... Oh, great. Well, we killed them, but we also tripped an alarm. Looks like the prison has its own alarm system, and if we trip the alarm, the Beastlords in the prison begin firing upon Felix Stiles, the hero they're holding hostage. So great, now we got to avoid tripping yet another alarm. So reloading the previous save, instead of heading outside, we can try and find this alarm before the Beastlords can get to it. Moving east down a hallway, we see the alarm by a door, and here stands a Beastlord. This must be the guy who tripped the alarm. We can try to take him out before he can reach it, but when we do, the baby Deathclaws and Beastlords outside rush at us, and this enclosed space is just the perfect battlefield for these baby Deathclaws. They tear us up. So reloading again, we find 3 cells to the south. The doors can't be picked. However, we do see a switch on the eastern side of the door. Sending an ice, we can flip the switch. And it opens all of the cell doors. I had the bright idea to send my squad inside the cells and then close the doors to shoot at the baby Deathclaws from safety. However, I discovered that once opened, the doors can't be closed. The switch doesn't work again. we can't manually close the doors. And so the Deathclaws just race in and kill us. However, in one of the cells, we find a chest, and in the chest, a Neosted Combat SG shotgun. An automatic 12-gauge military shotgun. The best weapon for close quarters, except for a flamethrower. This shotgun has both single and burst mode. In single mode, it does between 15 and 25 damage, with an AP cost of 4 and a range of 22. In burst mode, it does between 13 and 22 damage, with an AP cost of 5 and a range of 17. This is far and away better than the double barrel and the pump-action shotgun that we've found so far. Beth had the Beretta Silverhawk equipped, which in single mode did between 12 and 22 damage with a range of 14. The Neosted is superior in both damage and range, so I replaced her shotgun with the Neosted. While attempting time and time again to kill these Beastlords and Deathclaws without them triggering the alarm, I was frustrated and I didn't understand what was going on, why I kept failing, until I realized that on the roof there's a sniper standing right next to an alarm, and he's the guy who's been triggering it if he sees the action below. After discovering this, I decided to skip the Deathclaws for now and save them for later. Sending the squad into one of the cells, we can get rid of the guy by the alarm. Wasn't enough to lure the Deathclaws. On his body was a Desert Eagle, 2 festering spears, healing powder, and ammunition. Then we can send ice up the staircase in the middle of the room. We find that sniper on the guard tower to the northwest. Rounding the corner, we find 2 Beastlords standing behind sandbag barricades, and then through a break in the wall on the rooftop to the west, we find 1 Beastlord sleeping. On the eastern side, we find another sniper on another tower and the boss, holding hero Felix Stiles hostage. Once he and the others see us, they begin to fire on the hostage. So my strategy was to take out the guys who could fire on Felix from range before they could do any damage. I sent 3 of my squad behind the guys standing by the sandbag barricades. And as I sent 3 more to attack the sleeping guy on the roof and the guy in the sniper tower, the boss addresses us.
You want to fight humans? Then fight me! I will strip the flesh from your bones! This town is now mine!
Our squad quickly takes out the guys by the bullhorn. They trip the alarm, but by now it doesn't matter. The other half of our squad quickly kills the guy on the roof. I couldn't make it up to the guard tower in time. The boss was doing damage to Felix. So with these 3 at least dead, we can race in to kill the boss. With the boss dead, we can take out the guy atop the eastern tower. And then we can scale the western tower to take care of the last guy. I did a lot of damage to Felix during this fight, but he survived. The guy was tough. On the body of the guy atop the western tower was a hunting rifle and ammunition. On the body of the guy sleeping on the rooftop was another M1 Garand and ammunition. On the bodies of the guys behind the sandbag barricades was a hunting rifle, 2 festering spears, healing powder and ammunition on one, and a pump-action shotgun and ammunition on the other. Then on the body of the guy atop the western sniper tower was a Desert Eagle and ammunition. Then on the body of Duff the Beastmaster, the boss, we disappointingly find a Browning, some healing powder and ammunition. At last we can talk with Warden Felix, who's almost dead.
You are a warrior's warrior, my friend. My name is Felix Stiles, and I am in your debt. If you don't mind, I'd like to rest here until I work the life back into my old legs and ankles. Those ropes don't allow much room for circulation.
We did it. It was a bit sloppy, I'll admit, but we did it. As for cut content, if we allowed Felix to die, the mayor would have said this.
No, not my Felix. You said you could handle it. How could you let him die? Maybe I made a mistake in trusting you. Felix is more than an old hero to me, you bastard. We were to be married.
But with Felix saved, the mayor would have said this.
Thank you so much for freeing old Felix. The townsfolk will be very pleased to know that he's alive and well, and since he shares my bed, I'm in your debt.
With Felix saved and this building clear, we have now but to kill the Deathclaws waiting for us outside. We no longer need to fear the alarm, so I decided to set up a firing squad against the far western wall of the prison. Then, using Stoma, my most heavily armored character, we can try to lure the Deathclaws. And it worked like a charm. Deathclaws and Beastlords dead. On the body of one Beastlord, a hunting rifle, healing powder, and 5 more festering spears. On the body of the other, the exact same inventory. Exploring the rest of the prison compound, we find a basketball court to the east, and to the south we find a door leading to a gallows. But I couldn't open this door. It says it was locked. I then tried to pick it, but it says, does nothing. But I didn't find a key for the gallows. Either way, inside we don't see any containers we can loot, so with all of the enemies killed and the entire place cleared, we can head back to the mayor to tell her the good news.
I don't know what to say. I don't know how we can repay you. Tell your commanders that the town of Quincy is honored to join the Brotherhood, and whatever resources we have are at its disposal. All these years, I never thought people such as you existed. You have done more than just rescue a town warrior. You have returned something to me that I lost when I was just a girl, something that I didn't even know was missing. You have given me back my spirit. May you find the happiness one day that I now feel. Farewell, my hero.
Talking to her again.
Well, you have managed to save my daughter, and you have done well in spite of the horrific odds. I thank you, strangers, for coming to the aid of my town. For that, you shall have your alliance. Let the Brotherhood and the town of Quincy be strangers no longer. I will inform your commanders that you have performed well enough to secure the alliance. Farewell, warrior.
Then talking to Arlene again, there is some cut dialogue if we allow the Mayor Hillary to die.
I know you did your best, but couldn't the Brotherhood have sent anybody better? The whole town is sorry, and I had such high hopes for you.
Presumably this was cut because we can't even complete the mission if she dies. Therefore, if we succeed and we save her, Arlene says,
Thank you for saving Hillary's life. She's a great mentor and the strongest leader this town has ever had. She was my teacher when I was a child. When she took me in after my parents died, she became like a mother to me. The whole town owes you its gratitude for saving her.
As with every map, Quincy has a unique death, narrated by Ron Perlman.
You have perished. Your bones will rattle inside your armor as the insects search for carrion. The Brotherhood must prevail without you.
But if we survive, at last we can move to the exit grid to leave the mission. If we succeed, but all we do is save Evita and the mayor, ignoring everything else.
At ease, warrior. I had thought that you might be well suited to this sort of tactical situation. Obviously, I was wrong. Do not feel ashamed. Not everyone can be expected to be adept in a hostage crisis. At least you managed to seal the alliance, although reluctantly.
If we succeed, by rescuing Evita and the mayor, and most of the civilians tied to the generators, letting only a few of them die.
Well done, warrior. You have done very well given the circumstances. Your tactical cunning, combined with your ability to assess the situation, has prevented the deaths of most of the hostages. After Quincy has time to recover, they will be a huge resource for the Brotherhood. You're dismissed.
If we succeed by rescuing the mayor, Evita, the ghouls, hero Felix Stiles, and saving all of the prostitutes and civilians.
Well done, warrior. You have done extremely well given the circumstances. Your tactical cunning, combined with your ability to assess the situation, has saved the lives of all the hostages. The Brotherhood now all but owns the township of Quincy. Well done, warrior. All new information reports that the Beastlords join their monster associates in the consumption of human flesh. This abomination will not be tolerated anywhere within the reach of Brotherhood forces and will be dealt with permanently soon enough. Our scribes are very curious about this apparent symbiotic relationship between man and monster. In the future, we must retrieve more information before the scribes can be expected to produce an accurate explanation. The ghouls of Quincy are overjoyed by your dedication to protect them along with their human counterparts. As a result, there are now ghouls applying for membership into the Brotherhood. The elders believe that their inherent resistance to certain toxins make up for their subhuman frailties. I pray the Brotherhood can remain pure at heart with this foul taint. Dismissed.
Well, we apparently disappoint Barnaky. He considers all ghouls to be a foul taint. But the elders don't seem to mind, and so we'll call it a success. With that, we reach the world map and we can head back to Bunker Beta to find out what Barnaky has for us next. But sadly, I am all out of time. We'll pick up right here where we leave off in my next episode. I publish new Fallout videos each and every week on my channel, so if you don't want to miss the next one, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. If you have already, but you still feel like you're missing out on YouTube notifications, consider following me on Twitter at Oxhorn. I update Twitter manually with every new piece of content that I publish. I've got a shirt shop with completely unique designs that you can't find anywhere else. My designs come on shirts in a variety of men's, women's, and children's sizes and in a wide array of colors. You can find them on other products as well, like smartphone cases, pillows, posters, mugs, stickers, prints, etc. So if interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming a patron on Patreon or a member here on YouTube. YouTube members get access to little badges by their names in the comments section and in my live chats, and access to ox emojis they can use during my live streams. But more than anything, I'm just so grateful you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon with more brand new videos.
Oops! Hey, that's mine! Don't step on it! Whoops! There goes my nose again! It gets that way in this weather. Give me a sec here. I just gotta adjust my appendages. Know what I mean?